Elena Hart had spent 20 years proving that emotions were expensive distractions. As the founder and CEO of Heart Dynamics, a billion-dollar technology company, she had built her empire through relentless discipline, impossible standards, and an unwavering belief that success came only to those willing to sacrifice everything else. Business magazines called her the Iron Queen of Silicon Valley. Investors admired her fearlessness. Competitors feared her. But there was one challenge that no amount of money or influence could solve. Her 8-year-old daughter, Lily, had stopped smiling. Ever since Elena's husband died in a helicopter accident 3 years earlier, Lily had withdrawn into a quiet world of books, drawings, and silence. The mansion echoed with the sound of expensive tutors coming and going. Art teachers, language coaches, therapists, and world-famous piano instructors had all tried to connect with her. None succeeded. The piano in the grand living room remained untouched despite costing more than most people's cars. Every evening, Elena would return home after another 14-hour workday, hoping to find some sign that things were improving. Instead, she'd discover Lily curled up near the window, staring outside while rain traced lazy patterns across the glass. "You didn't practice today?" Elena asked gently one evening. Lily shook her head without looking up. "Did Mr. Collins upset you?" Another shake. "What happened?" "I just don't like when people teach because they're paid to." The words hit Elena harder than she expected. She had always believed that providing the best money could buy was the same as showing love. Apparently, her daughter disagreed. A week later, Elena attended an important meeting downtown with Lily because school had closed unexpectedly. She left her in the executive lounge with an assistant, while she finalized a merger worth hundreds of millions of dollars. The meeting ran longer than expected. When Elena returned, the assistant looked panicked. "I'm so sorry, Ms. Hart. Lily slipped away about 20 minutes ago." Elena's heart raced. Security teams immediately searched the surrounding streets. Finally, one guard called. "We found her." She rushed 2 blocks away, expecting tears or danger. Instead, she stopped in disbelief outside a tiny neighborhood music studio squeezed between a bakery and an old bookstore. Through the front window, she saw Lily sitting beside a weathered upright piano. Across from her sat a casually dressed man in his late 30s with rolled-up sleeves and kind, patient eyes. Instead of giving instructions, he played a few gentle notes and smiled as Lily copied them. For the first time in years, Lily laughed. It wasn't forced. It wasn't polite. It was real. Elena froze at the doorway, unable to remember the last time she'd heard that sound. The man noticed her immediately and stood. "You must be Lily's mother." His voice was calm and respectful. "I'm Daniel Brooks." Elena instinctively stepped between him and her daughter. "Why is my child here?" Daniel didn't seem offended. "She heard the music from outside. She asked if she could watch. Then she wanted to try. I don't remember giving permission." "You didn't. I should call the police." "You absolutely could," Daniel replied calmly. "But first, maybe ask Lily whether she'd like to leave." Elena turned. "Lily." Her daughter looked up with bright eyes. "Mom, listen." Tiny fingers pressed the piano keys. The melody wasn't perfect. It stumbled. It paused. But it was the very first song Lily had willingly played since her father's death. "I learned this today," she whispered proudly. For a moment, Elena forgot every angry word she intended to say. She simply listened. When the final note faded, silence filled the room. Daniel smiled. "She has remarkable musical instincts." Elena finally found her voice. "How much do you charge?" Daniel blinked. "For lessons? I don't know." "You don't know?" "I've never taught someone because of their bank account." The answer caught her completely off guard. Every expert she'd ever hired had immediately discussed contracts, hourly rates, and schedules. Daniel hadn't asked her name. He clearly didn't recognize one of the wealthiest CEOs in the country. He simply seemed interested in helping Lily. As mother and daughter walked toward the car, Lily tugged on Elena's sleeve. "Can I come back tomorrow?" Elena looked back through the studio window. Daniel was carefully stacking children's music books before helping another young student adjust her posture at the piano. There was no performance. No sales pitch. No attempt to impress anyone. Just quiet patience. For reasons she couldn't explain, Elena found herself wondering who this ordinary-looking single father really was, and why, in less than an hour, he had succeeded where every elite instructor she had hired had failed. Despite her reservations, Elena allowed Lily to continue taking piano lessons with Daniel Brooks. Weeks passed, and the transformation in her daughter was nothing short of remarkable. The shy little girl who once avoided conversations now hurried through breakfast, eager to reach the small neighborhood studio. She laughed more, made friends with the other children, and even surprised the household staff by practicing piano every evening without being asked. The music that drifted through the mansion replaced the heavy silence that had lingered since her father's death. Elena couldn't understand it. She had spent millions trying to help Lily heal, yet one humble piano teacher had succeeded with nothing more than patience and kindness. Curiosity eventually overcame her skepticism. One afternoon, after dropping Lily off, Elena stayed behind and quietly watched from the back of the studio. Daniel never raised his voice. When a student played the wrong note, he simply smiled and encouraged them to try again. He celebrated effort more than perfection. It was the complete opposite of Elena's own leadership style. After class, she finally asked, "Where did you learn to teach children like this?" Daniel hesitated before answering. "My son taught me." Elena looked around. "I don't see him. He passed away 2 years ago." The room fell silent. Daniel explained that after losing his wife to cancer, his young son had become the center of his world. They spent countless evenings playing music together until illness unexpectedly took the boy as well. Teaching children had become his way of honoring the family he had lost. Elena felt genuine sympathy for the first time in years. Still, something about Daniel remained mysterious. His movements were unusually precise. His awareness of everything around him seemed almost unnatural. He noticed details others overlooked, from a loose electrical wire to a frightened child before anyone else did. Unable to ignore her curiosity, Elena hired a private investigator. 2 days later, the report arrived. She stared at the first page in disbelief. Daniel Brooks had once served as one of the most highly decorated Navy SEAL operators in the country. Much of his military record remained classified. He had participated in hostage rescues, anti-terror operations, and humanitarian missions across the world. Several commendations listed only the words, "Actions remain confidential." The investigator added one final sentence. "Those who served with him consider him one of the finest operators they ever knew." Elena finally understood why Daniel carried himself with such quiet confidence. Yet he had never mentioned any of it. To Lily, he was simply Mr. Daniel, the man who loved music. A week later, Elena hosted a charity gala to raise funds for children's education. Business leaders, politicians, and celebrities filled the grand ballroom. Lily had insisted that Daniel attend as her guest. Reluctantly, he agreed. Halfway through the evening, the lights suddenly went out. Panic spread across the room. Several armed men burst through the entrance, demanding access to a prototype technology that Heart Dynamics had planned to unveil. Guests screamed and scattered. Elena instinctively searched for Lily. She couldn't find her. Before fear could overwhelm her, Daniel calmly stepped forward. His gentle smile disappeared, replaced by the focused expression of someone who had faced danger countless times before. In seconds, he guided frightened children behind heavy marble columns, quietly instructed adults to remain calm, and used the confusion to separate the attackers. Without unnecessary violence, he disarmed the first man, restrained another, and created an escape route for dozens of guests. Every movement was controlled, efficient, and astonishingly fast. Within minutes, police tactical units arrived to find the criminals already subdued. No innocent person had been seriously injured. The officers immediately recognized Daniel. One senior commander approached him with respect. "Good to see you again, Commander Brooks." Daniel simply nodded. "I'm retired." News of the incident spread across the country. Reporters praised the mysterious piano teacher who had saved hundreds of lives. But Daniel declined every interview, refusing awards and media attention. "The children deserve peace," he told Elena. "Not another hero story." That evening, Elena visited the music studio with Lily. She looked around at the worn piano, the faded walls, and the simple wooden chairs. Then she handed Daniel a folder. "I'd like to invest in this school," she said. Daniel smiled politely. "I don't want charity." "It's not charity," Elena replied. "It's a partnership. Every child deserves a chance to discover music, no matter their family's income." For the first time, Daniel accepted. Months later, the small studio had grown into a thriving community music academy offering free lessons to underprivileged children. Lily became one of its brightest students, often performing alongside children from every background. Watching her daughter play confidently before a cheering audience, Elena realized something that no business success had ever taught her. Money could build companies. Power could open doors. But kindness, humility, and genuine compassion were what truly changed lives. As the final notes of Lily's piano performance echoed through the hall, Elena wiped away a quiet tear. She had searched the world for the perfect teacher but had instead found something far greater, a true hero whose greatest victory wasn't on the battlefield, but in helping broken hearts learn to smile again. And from that day forward, the billionaire CEO measured success not by the size of her fortune, but by the lives she could help transform, just as one humble single father had transformed hers.